All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Family Forum. We are really excited to have y'all here with us today. Before we go ahead and introduce ourselves, I just want to let you know that we can't hear or see you, but please utilize the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen to ask any questions you have to our panelists, because this is the time for you to get your questions answered, and we're really excited to be able to help you with any questions you have or concerns. But first off, my name is Naseem Nozertosh. I'm one of the Assistant Directors of New Student and Family Services, and I will be helping moderate this panel. So we'll just go around and have our student leaders introduce themselves, say what year they are, major, and OC number and what you're involved in. It's kind of a mouthful.
I could go ahead. Hi, everyone. My name is Nandini Tushir. I'm a third-year business analytics major and data science minor from Mooresville, North Carolina, and I'm your OT number 1.
All right, I'll go next. My name is Jalen Eric McMillan. I'm a second-year pre-business major from Charlotte, North Carolina, and currently all I'm involved in is this position right here and also chess club, but I'm an OC number 17.
Hello, everyone. My name is Malik Talbert. I am a third-year pre-business major from Queens, New York, and I'm your OC number 6. Currently, this is my only position so far.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anna, and I'm one of the FAM turns. I'm actually not an OC, but I am a second-year student majoring in English, minoring in Spanish, and secondary education.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Mahmood. I'm a third-year psychology major, public health minor, and I'm one of the family programs interns for the New Student and Family Services office.
And then you'll see that we have another OC with us, John Savannah Carter, and we're just working a little on technical difficulties, so don't mind that. We'll have her jump in just a few seconds. But let's go ahead and start off with the first question that our OCs will answer is, if you had one piece of advice for incoming family members, what would it be?
I could start off with that. So one piece of advice that I have for the family members is that UNC Charlotte has tons of campus resources, and even in this different virtual environment, know that we're here to support you and your students. So welcome to Niner Nation, and we're here for you.
All right, I'll go next. One piece of advice I have for incoming family members is probably not to worry about your kid too much. Like, don't call them every single day asking how they are, because they're doing just fine. And if they're not reaching out to you, they might just be a little busy, but don't harass them.
I would say kind of what Jalen Eric said and a little bit what Nandini said. Just give your student time to adjust, I guess, because this is going to be a new experience for them. It's going to be very different. And if you are involved too much, they may not get the experience they want or be able to fully adapt to a different living space. So I would say give them space, like obviously still be there for them, of course, but give them more space than you normally maybe would.
Yeah, and definitely one thing I would add is that every student is different. You're the student's family, you know them better than anyone. So, be able to read your student. If they're not reaching out to you and that's not normal for them, then reach out to them, make sure they're doing okay. If they are talking to you every day, make sure they're getting involved, kind of give them a little bit of encouragement to find something to get involved in on campus as well, and things like that. And for one of our next question, what is your favorite tradition at UNC Charlotte?
I think that's a great, Jenna, do you want to go ahead?
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Nadine. You
All
got
right, so that's a great question. It's probably one of my favorite one as well. My favorite tradition at UNC Charlotte is Wear Green Wednesday. I think that's a great way to showcase my Niner pride actually every week. So that's one of my favorite one. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I was gonna do that one, but I guess my second favorite tradition would probably be Gold Rush, just because the week coming in and you want to do new things and you'll have the opportunity to meet a lot of new people. So I'd say Gold Rush is my favorite tradition.
And for me, I would probably say 49 things to do before you graduate. It's a good little checklist so that you can pretty much do everything that previous students may have done so you can feel more involved with the campus and more involved with the history.
Absolutely. Those are all like super great answers. There's tons of traditions, and I love that everyone had something different that they really connect with. Our next question is, if a family member is helping their student financially with UNC Charlotte tuition and any other bills, is there any way that they can see their grades to check up on them?
I got y'all if y'all don't know this. So there is a form that families can fill out. It's online. There's this guest portal that Niner Central has because of FERPA, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, that enables you to automatically see grades, look at their tuition, anything that is of the student's information that is theirs. That is a federal law. But Niner Central has a guest portal where you can sign in, and your student has to do it with you too at first and give you the right permissions. And it's not just a one and done. You have to renew it every year. But fun fact, if you watch the Fam Fridays episode, which we'll talk about a little bit later, it's a Instagram TV. We have Niner Central on there, Kimberly Laney, and she talks a little bit about it as well. But yes, there's a guest portal on Niner Central, and we are more than happy to give you that contact information as well. But Niner Central is the office you want to talk to.
Awesome. Thank you for answering that, Naseem. Moving on to one of our most commonly asked questions from family members. If you reflect back on your freshman year, what is one thing you would do differently?
I love that question. So if I reflect back on my freshman year, one thing that I would definitely do differently is to build my network. I think networking is very, very important, and that's something I realized probably coming into my sophomore year. So that's also one piece of advice that I usually give to my small group students, is that always be ready to learn and explore. Building your network really helps you gain some different experiences and know some great perspective from different people. And we have tons of networking opportunities at UNC Charlotte. You can get connected with the campus resources that actually promotes your academic, professional, as well as career development.
Okay, I'll take it next because I just finished my first year, so I have really good advice, I think. But one thing I would have done differently is I would have explored my options more and more towards organizations. Because when I first got here to UNC Charlotte in my first semester, I picked 3 or 4 good organizations that I wanted to join, and then I just stopped looking. But that was a bad move because there's over 400 organizations on campus, and I should have just kept my ears open instead of just being so focused on those 3.
And I was kind of the opposite of Jalen Eric. When I first got here, I wanted to do everything, try to be involved in as many things as I possibly could. And I wasn't as focused on academics as I should have been. So I would have just taken a step back, been more focused on school rather than organizations and stuff like that, and just took my time more.
Awesome. Those are some great answers. Moving on to our next question that we received from a family member. How can a family member talk to all the offices on behalf of their student? Are there webinars for family members with the specific offices?
So kind of similarly to what I said a little earlier, it depends on the information that you want. So if it's in regards to grades or tuition, you're going to need that guest portal. And I'm actually going to go ahead in the chat, put that website in. It's a little long. But if you look at the chat, that is the website you want to go to with more information. You are more than welcome to talk to other offices. Like for instance, if you have questions about family resources, or really kind of any question that you don't know what office to talk to, you can call into Student Family Services and we will direct you, or use the parents at uncc.edu website, or not website, email, and we can direct you in the right direction. But if you know which office you want to talk to, like if it's financial aid, you're more than welcome to call them. However, if you want to talk specifically about your student's account, you will need to do the guest portal, and there's like a whole process with it regarding setting up a password and setting up, or like a passcode almost, and setting up an account that specifically allows you access to certain parts of your student's account information. And I just put that in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping answer that, Naseem. On to our next question. What will Family Weekend be like this year, and when is it?
I could take that one as well. Okay, it is October 16th through the 18th. That is a Friday to Sunday. And what that looks like is we're still in the planning process. So we are waiting a little bit on guidelines from not just Charlotte, but from North Carolina, to hear what our social distancing guidelines would be around that time. So we're just waiting on that, but it will either be a full virtual or a hybrid, which is a virtual and an in-person method. But we want to keep the integrity of the programming, whether that is with our 49 or 401 sessions, which is our interest sessions. Not sure about athletics at this moment as to what the plans are, but usually there's a football game and a tailgate. But if we don't have a football game, we're going to figure out what that looks like to have programming that's similar. Also, I apologize if you hear a dog barking in the background. Apologize about that. I stuck them outside so they don't bark during this family forum presentation. But know that we'll keep the integrity of the program. And if you want more information, look at our website, nsfs.uncc.edu.
I would just like to add that we posted an episode on events specifically from our office, New Student Family Services, an episode of Fam Friday. So if you would like to check that out, that's on our Instagram as well as YouTube page.
And Facebook. Our next question is, what kinds of groups or organizations does UNC Charlotte have, and how can you find where they're located?
Okay, I'll take this one. UNC Charlotte pretty much has every organization that you could possibly think of, pretty much. Like, I was real surprised when I first got here and figured out we have a rocketry club, because I thought that was real interesting and real random. So pretty much take that and make every variation of that random organization, and we have it. And how you're going to get involved with those organizations, you're going to go to your myuncc.edu page, and I believe it says, I think, organizations, student organizations or something like that. Honestly, I don't think that's right, but if anyone knows, feel free to step up and answer that.
Yeah, I can help you out with that. So the website where you can find out more details about the student organizations is Niner Engage, and I just added the link about that in the chat box. So feel free to check that out, and know that we have 400 plus student organizations, so great opportunities to get involved and really meet some new people. And yeah, so that's the website. Feel free to check that out in the chat box.
To further help out what Jalen Eric was saying, if you go to your myuncc.edu, on the right side under the quick links, it is student orgs-Niner Engage. So that was that's what I found. Also, we will, I don't know how it's going to be this year, but usually we would have a student org showcase where a lot of the organizations would come out and kind of promote what they do and who they are. So that would be another way you could find out something that you could join or be interested in.
Yeah, tagging onto that, they are doing a virtual showcase for the organizations this year, and that will be coming out in August. I think the early part of August. They're going to start having like videos that kind of give a representation of organizations that the organizations can submit. And then they'll just have a little description and give your students somewhere where they can register to be a part of the organization or to speak with someone who is part of the organization to decide if they want to join.
Awesome. And before we move on to our next question, I would just like to encourage everyone watching to utilize the Q&A feature through Zoom and submit any questions that they might have. But moving on to our next question, one of the most commonly asked questions we get is, what is one thing that you brought during moving that you didn't end up needing? And what is one thing that you wish you had brought?
Okay, I'll answer this one. One thing I brought to school that I never used once was my telescope, and I'm ashamed to say I even brought it because I knew I wasn't going to use it, but it looked cool in my dorm room, so I kept it. One thing I wish I brought more of was towels. I only brought 2 towels, and I should have brought at least 3 or 4, just because like random things will happen, and you need towels for that. That's my advice to you.
Telescope?
Yeah, not the best move, but it looked really cool, so I brought it anyways.
I'll go next. I really can't think of anything that I didn't use from bringing, that I didn't use that I brung. However, I did wish that I brung a iron because I had to throw my clothes in the dryer to get them unwrinkled a lot more times than I should have. So I definitely should have brought an iron.
I second that. An iron and like a mini ironing board, if you can find one, is a very useful thing. As one thing that I did bring that I'm so glad that I did.
I just stole my roommate's iron, honestly.
None of mine had one, and it was really disappointing actually.
I highly recommend you talking with your roommates to see what the other person brings as well, so you don't bring 2 microwaves or 2 irons, because you probably don't need it. And you can get a mini ironing board at the IKEA that is about 5 minutes away from school, because that's what I did. But some really good answers that I've heard in the past is like luggage. Some students need luggage, and like you never know that you need luggage till you need it. So that was always a good one here. I heard gift cards is a good one because we have so many stores around us that if you need something, you can give it to them and they need to get it. And then if you want to cook, usually there's community kitchens if you don't have one in your residence hall. So whatever your student needs for that, because it's a great time to learn how to cook.
One more thing. What I brought that I really am glad I brought also is a lamp or some like type of lights. It kind of gives you a better homey feel instead of the standard light in your room. So that was a good idea too.
I love that.
Awesome. These were some great answers. Moving on to our next question. Can you speak about your experience with the shuttle service and parking passes, and where can I find information on these services?
Go ahead with this one. Yeah, so if you want to find more information about parking and transportation services, you can visit their website, which I think it's pats.uncc.edu. I'm also going to just drop the link in the chat box for your reference later. But I had a great experience. We actually have a lot of parking decks and lots in UNC Charlotte, so parking is pretty good. And I do want to say that It could be a little bit busy during the peak hours though, so I usually come a little bit early. So definitely be mindful about that. And yeah, so the parking passes, just want to put out there that I think they're going to start distributing the passes starting August 1st. So feel free to check that out. So yeah, and overall, I think I had a great experience with parking and transportation services.
And I can hop on like the buses as far as that type of transportation. The bus system here is it's pretty good. I rely on it most of the time. It depends on what the weather is looking like. If it's a good day, I'll probably just walk. But depending on how late I may be, definitely I would wait for the bus because they run pretty. They come to your stop pretty often. You really won't be waiting too long, and you shouldn't be late. So the bus is another good recommendation as well. But personally, if you want to walk, I would, because the campus is really beautiful during this time of the year.
I would just add, we have a great resource on campus. We have an application that we use for our bus system called UNCC Next Ride. So this is a great resource to download, and this will basically provide you real-time information on when buses will be coming to whatever stop you might be at. So it will literally tell you like, oh, this next bus will be at your stop in like 8 minutes. I think the max it'll make you wait is like 8 minutes at most. But yeah, it's a great resource to download. I have it on my phone. I use it almost every time I have to use the bus system at UNC Charlotte. So I definitely recommend that resource.
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely used UNCC Next Ride a lot, and I just added that into the chat box just so you have the name of that application. Kind of piggybacking off of this question, we have a question from a family member. Are parking passes needed on move-in day?
Well, I'm not very familiar with this question because I always did early move-in, so I've never had a traditional move-in day. But I would not think so. I think people can just come here, park for the day, get their people moved in, and then they'll have to leave. But I don't think you'll need a parking pass for that.
To piggyback off of that, I don't think you do because most move-ins are on the weekend and parking on is free on the weekend anyway. So I don't think so.
Yes, so for move-in, you do not have to have a parking pass. You will have to move your car around a little bit. So outside of every building, they will have designated areas for you to unload the car, and then you'll have to move the car to another lot to park so that another car can come and unload. And then you will basically empty your students' belongings into a parking space that is designated where you unload the car, and then you will move the car, and then you will move the stuff into the building. Or you can have your student go ahead and start moving the stuff while you go move the car. But parking it does not cost anything on move-in day. You just may have to move your car around a little bit. And then on to our next question. Can anyone speak about their experience finding the best place to get textbooks?
Yeah, I could share about that. So the first thing I want to start off is that when it comes to textbooks, I would say just wait until you have started your classes, probably like a day or so, so that you get the information if you really need the textbook or not. Because like I remember in my first semester when I came to UNCC, I got all my textbook when my teacher already provided like a PDF for one of my classes. So it's not going to be applicable to every class, but it's just important to be kind of find out more details how the instructor is going to take that into. So just wanted to put it out there. But we do have a bookstore, Barnes and Nobles at UNCC. They have great services, pretty convenient. It's located in the Student Union, so feel free to check that out. That's my first place to go to. And then second place, I think I also use Amazon. So hopefully that's helpful as well.
Yeah, pretty much second one. And then Deanie said definitely check the bookstore first. They usually price match, so that's also a good source. And if you can't find your book there, then Amazon would definitely be the second step.
Awesome. Moving on to our next question. Do you feel safe at UNC Charlotte, and does campus have a curfew?
I can answer this question. I'll answer the first. Does campus have a curfew? No, I don't think campus has a curfew because I'll be out skating on campus till like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'll see campus security around, but they'll never like harass me or anything like that. But do I feel safe on campus? Yes, absolutely. I feel safe on campus. Campus security is always around. You will literally always see them. They're here to make sure that you're safe, and I trust campus security completely. So I feel very safe here on campus.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Jill and Eric. So thank you for sharing that. But yeah, and one thing I want to say that if I don't feel safe on campus, I wouldn't be here. I really feel super safe on my campus, and police and public safety, they have great resource. You can check out their website to find out more details. And one thing I really wanted to stress out is that we have blue light phones throughout the campus. So if there's any emergency, you can find them anywhere at different locations. So it's pretty accessible easily. So that's a great resource for your safety if there's any emergency or something. But campus police is, you can find them mostly on campus, and they're here for you.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely feel safe on campus. I was going to say what Nandini said about the blue light system. Pretty much there's one almost everywhere you can find one. Every turn you look, it's right there waiting for you if you need it. And it's set up to where if you press that button, it goes straight to the police department that's on campus, and they know exactly where it is because it's wired to that specific location. So they can be right there as soon as they can. So I definitely feel safe on campus for sure.
Another really good resource that I speak on personally in almost every family forum because I use this app a lot is the Live Safe app. And it is, well, I can put it in the chat box. So you have that. But basically, this app allows you to be in direct contact with the UNC Charlotte police that is on campus, and then also allows you to connect with other people. So if you're walking, let's just say you're walking at night from your car back to your residence hall, or from your residence hall to your car, or maybe you have a late class and it's dark outside and there's not a lot of people on campus, you can actually add someone who also has the app to walk with you from wherever you're going to your destination. I always add my mom onto this and then one of my roommates, just so two people know where I am, know that I made it to my destination safely, and I have that kind of security of someone knows what I'm doing even though I'm alone at the moment. And then also you do have direct contact with UNC Charlotte police, so you can text them, you can also call them through the app, and it's just a really simple way to feel a lot safer, and then it gives you that connection.
Great, thank you for that, Anna and everyone else. Moving on to our next question. How do you meet people as a commuter student?
I'll go ahead and start. I'm not a commuter. I live on campus, but I do have friends who are commuters, and it's not as hard as you may think. Obviously, yes, you're not gonna be on campus 24/7, but you do have that time when you're in class to make classmate friends, or you can like before class or after class, you can still walk around campus, try to meet new people, as well as organizations. If you want to get more involved on campus, you can join an organization that still allows you to learn people the same way as you would if you lived on campus, you can off campus. So those would be my recommendations.
Yeah, so I'm a commuter student, so definitely wanted to add my perspective on that. I want to say that it's never been hard for me to meet new people. One thing that really helps me out is to just reach out to people and get to know their perspective. And I think that habit has helped me to really, contact my classmates or my teachers, which has really helped me a lot. And if it comes to being on campus, I love to be on campus the entire day. I mean, I would prefer to be here than being at my home. So I love my campus, and definitely, as Malik said, student organizations, great way to meet new people, and definitely like having various leadership positions on campus also give you an opportunity to interact with students and get to meet new people. And then one thing that I also do sometimes is to have some coffee time with my friends, with someone who I just met and I really wanted to have a connection. We have Starbucks, we got Pete's Cafe at UNC Charlotte, so great locations to kind of just make your connections.
Yeah, absolutely. And on to our next question. Could you all speak to the diversity at UNC Charlotte?
I can go ahead and start. I think the diversity on campus is pretty well. Like I say again, I bring up organizations because we have different type of organizations that allow you to be in a more diverse atmosphere if you want to. Me personally, I was the treasurer last year for BSU, which is Black Student Union. Um, it's not necessarily meant for Black students only. Anyone can join. But it kind of, the purpose of the organization is to bring light to different things happening in the community or the world that surrounds Black heritage and Black history and Black people. Um, so if you ever want to join that, that's definitely a great organization that I recommend. And it's also something that you can learn more about. You can learn more about the history as well. So I would do that. And besides that, like I said again, I think the campus is very well diverse. You can always just walk around and just see different faces and different people. So yeah.
Yeah, Malik, that's a great point. And just to kind of add on to that, diversity is really commendable at UNC Charlotte. We're a really inclusive university. That's also one of the things that I'm really proud to be a Niner. And just to kind of highlight a different perspective, which is about the international students. So UNC Charlotte has around 2,000 international students. So that's a great number. And you can definitely relate to the diversity here. We have a lot of countries represented from abroad. So that's a great thing. And that's one of my favorite things as well.
All right, and on to the next question. How can my student or myself get updates about different events happening on campus?
One way that I try to stay updated is always checking my UNCC email. You may get something, like if you sign up for an organization, they'll send you an email. So that's one way. Another way is to get if you go to CAB, usually have a CAB calendar, which has a whole bunch of events and stuff on it. So that's another way you can stay up to date with what's going on, as well as if you follow what is it? Niner. It's something on Twitter that lets you know about events happening on campus as well. I forgot the name though. I apologize.
Yeah, definitely. And just to add on, you kind of hit the ballpark there. But I think more important than ever, especially coming into this fall semester, keeping track with social media. If you literally just search UNCC into like the search bar on Instagram, a whole bunch of pages will pop up. That includes CAB, that includes like homecoming, new student family services, all kinds of different events. Student involvement is a really good one that I would recommend you follow on Instagram as well. These pages will be posting constant updates about different events and how these events will look this year, like Nassim mentioned previously, whether that might be hybrid, so both in person and virtual, or just virtual altogether. Just a great way to keep track of those events and just to stay in the know, so you're able to, you know, be involved and be engaged during this kind of unforeseen time. But yeah.
All right, I think we have time for about like 2 more questions before we wrap up. I do have a question for y'all. What has been your favorite memory so far here at UNC Charlotte?
I'll go. I'm sure I have a better memory than this, but a really good memory I have was going to Utah my first semester, which is the University Transitions Opportunities Program. It's basically summer courses where you get adjusted to being a college student over the summer. And I'd have to say that was a highlight of my college career so far.
Can you explain what Utah?
Yeah, Utah. Okay. Starting from June 30th, that's the move-in day. And then from those days on, you'll take 7 credit hour classes, and then you'll be brought into campus. You'll be on campus, living there, taking the classes. And it's really just an adjustment for you to meet people, get adjusted to campus living, I guess. And then that's really all it is. University Transitions Opportunity Program. You just got to get transitioned. I don't know.
Yeah, so thanks for sharing, Jill and Eric. I think that was really nice. My favorite memory, I'm going to say, is that when I got involved with the University Career Center, I think that was a turning point in my career development. And that resource, it is one of our campus resources. If you check out their website, it's career.uncc.edu. They have some great resources, so feel free to check that out. And that's my favorite memory, because I really got to, hone these great skills of career and professional development, as well as help a lot of students. So, and I love helping students to kind of share the knowledge that I have. So that was one of the favorite experiences so far.
For me, it would probably be getting the position of treasurer for BSU, Black Union, because not only did it allow me to have a leadership position on campus, it also allowed for me to make more connections and meet more people, and just get people a little bit more educated about things that may go on that they don't really see, as well as I learned a lot of skills from it. Being the treasurer, obviously, I had to handle the money, so I worked on grants and fundraisers and stuff like that. So it allowed me to become more educated on like how to save money and where to spend money and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite memories was joining the education learning community. Education is in my minor, so I'm not quite to the point where I'm able to take a lot of classes for my secondary education minor. So joining the learning community, I was able to visit a school. I was able to go on little field trips that would kind of give us a little taste of like what our education classes and courses are going to be like. So it was a really, really good experience. Definitely one of the reasons that I chose UNC Charlotte as my school is because coming in as a first year student, you get to start working on what you want to do. And it's a really awesome opportunity. You get to meet a lot of people right off the bat that are studying the same thing as you. And it's just really awesome. It was definitely a lot of combined experiences and memories that just made my first year very special.
Thank you for that, Anna. Moving on, what different apps do you recommend my student have other than the ones that y'all mentioned earlier?
I can piggyback on this one. Let me see. Okay, so the Niner Diners mobile order app is basically an app that allows you to basically order your food online from, so for like fast food restaurants that we have on campus, say if the line's too long, you can go on the app, get what you want, pay for it there, and then the app will notify you when it's ready. You just go pick it up, and it's that simple. You don't have to wait in any lines or anything like that. So that's definitely an app I would recommend.
One app that I would recommend is the Light Rail app. It really is just like a bus schedule app for your phone. It's going to work to keep track of the light rail, when it's going to show up at your stop, and when it's going to depart. And that's really helpful if you're ever going uptown on the light rail. And I use the light rail a lot because it's really convenient for me. So I always have that downloaded and pulled up.
Yeah, and another helpful app that I'm going to say is Niner Destination. It's going to help have some really good information about university schedules and some campus maps, some great resources, as well as social media platforms. And this app is also recommended for Gold Rush. So we do have a schedule for all of that and about Gold Rush in that specific app. So this is super helpful.
Awesome. Y'all mentioned some great resources. Another app I would probably include is Canvas because that's what we use here at UNC Charlotte. This is what all your professors are going to use to post all their work and assignments, and this is how you're going to see your grades. So I would definitely recommend putting Canvas on your phone just because I know I utilize the to-do list on Canvas a lot. That's how I keep track of all my assignments and papers. So I definitely recommend downloading Canvas from your respective application store. For our final
Wait, I
question.
have another app.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so one app, especially if your student is living on campus and they have a meal plan with dining hall swipes, they should download the Dine on Campus app. It basically will show you the menu for every single day at every single meal. So if your student especially is a picky eater and they're not sure if they're going to want to use a swipe to go to the dining hall, if they're not going to like what they have, they can see the menu. It was something that I used literally every day, and I would like plan what days I was going to the dining hall and what days I was going to figure something else out. Very useful if you live on campus and you pay for that meal plan and you want to make sure you're actually getting food that you enjoy.
And one more last little thing to piggyback off what Daniel said. As well as Canvas, I use Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Drive. They're all pretty much just there just in case I can't reach my laptop in time and it's something I need to finish or just like upload or update. I definitely use all three of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to our final question. I would say this is one of my favorite questions. What was the most embarrassing thing that happened to you during your first year, and what did you learn from that experience? Appropriate.
I can start off with this one. So probably the most embarrassing thing that happened to me was during the first year, but first semester actually. I did not talk to anyone, like literally no one. I would just go to class, come back home, do my homework, and go to class, and that's it. I would not get involved anywhere. So I was literally not talking to anyone. I had no friends the entire first year. So that was the most embarrassing thing, and I think that's really funny when I think about it today. So I think that was the point when I started to learn how important it is to make friends and get involved.
I would say, I would say when I first got here, I didn't necessarily know where every single one of my classes were. So at first, like the first week, I would walk in the wrong class and just be like, it's the wrong class, never mind, bye. And just like give that awkward look to the teacher because they don't know who you are. So I would say that's just probably the only one. That, or when I was at the dining hall, I accidentally spilled like a whole cup of water on the floor. And everybody was just looking at me, and I was just like, yeah, I guess I'll clean this up now. So, yeah.
Just wanted to add what Malik said. I can definitely relate that I was not even able to find out my classes like during my first semester. And the second semester, I decided, like, I made a plan. Okay, hey, I'm gonna go like 2 days before the semester starts and find out where my exact class is gonna be. So I made like planning like that. So that was helpful. But campus maps are very, very helpful, especially when you're gonna be new and you wouldn't be like very familiar with the buildings, their names and stuff like that. So feel free to access the campus maps. That could be very, very helpful.
Google Maps is also really helpful. You can type in the building name and then like switch it over to the walking one instead of the driving one on Google Maps, and it'll like take you the sidewalks that you need to take to get to the building, which is very, very useful. And then also a really embarrassing thing that happened to me, kind of relating to your dining hall embarrassing moment. So many times I would walk out of the dining hall with like one of the dining hall cups in my hand, just like still drinking my drink. And the people like outside the dining hall would always say, oh, like you can't take that with you. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I was carrying it, just enjoying my fruit punch. But
Okay, so my most embarrassing moment, it's a real bad one because I was sitting in the wrong class for 3 weeks straight before I realized it was in the wrong class. And it was real embarrassing for me having to ask my professor if she was the wrong person. And she was like, no, you're in the wrong class. And we were like 3 weeks in, so it was real embarrassing for me. I didn't even know what to do. I just had to stand up and walk out while everyone laughed at me. But I got through it, so I'm okay.
I have a similar situation to that. I said this in the last family forum, but I accidentally went to the wrong club meeting and I played like the whole icebreaker with them and everything, but it was like the totally wrong organization. Like I figured out after I played the icebreaker, it was really bad. But yeah, that was my embarrassing moment.
All right, so that's all the time we really have for questions, and I really appreciate our panel and our moderators taking the time today to answer any questions that y'all had and other questions that were very popular that we've had in past sessions. So thank you so much to our panel for answering these questions. To our families, if you have any other questions, please feel free to use the parents@uncc.edu email. Also, log into our Instagram and our Facebook because we have been putting content out there for families as resources. One of them is one we mentioned called Fam Fridays, and Fam Fridays is Anna and Daniel's project. They've been working on it, working with other campus partners to be able to provide video content of kind of discussions they've been having with various campus partners. And in the past weeks, we've had safety. So we had the UNC Charlotte Police. We've had, I was on it talking more about family events. We've had involvement on there, leadership and community engagement. So many different offices in there. And we are going to be posting one today. We haven't posted the one today. We will probably within the next hour. So please take a look at that. And also, we are going to be sending out Summer Scoop, which is our newsletter that goes out to incoming families. So please be on the lookout for that as well. But if you have any questions, please feel free to use that email. We are here for you. And if you want to join another family forum because you have more questions, please join through the webinar series the way you did for this as well, because we do have one more. All right, thank you so much. And we hope that your transition is as smooth as possible, and that's what we're here for. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Go Niners.